What's up, guys? Corbin the Cartoon Characters here, and I'm back again with another video. This time it's a movie review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, a live-action movie that I watched it on Netflix. Today I've watched it and it was pretty good. So what you don't know is that, for those of you that don't know what Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is based on a comic book series created by the Canadian cartoonist Brian Lee O'Malley. Yeah, that guy. So what you don't know was that Scott Pilgrim vs. the World was based on a true story, which I will leave the video link in the description. So after this review is over, so here we go. So Scott Pilgrim vs. the World has generated for to comic books, to a movie, a video game, and of course an anime series on Netflix called Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. And the cast from the movie get to reprise their roles. That is pretty cool. And of course, though, for me, I watched Scott Pilgrim vs. the World though. One of my favorite parts of this movie is the fight between the Kataniyaki twins. Yeah, which was Kyle and Ken. Kyle, his hair is bleached, and Ken, his hair is black, and they both have the same faces. They're twins. That's why they call themselves the Kataniyagi twins. Yeah, I think so. So the movie was pretty good. I love the fight scene where the two dragons from the Kataniyagi twins and fighting against a Yeti from the rock band Sex Bob-omb. It was pretty cool. I love that fight scene. That was really cool. How did Universal do that? That just blows my mind. I love that scene. And of course, another scene where Scott Pilgrim versus the World at the end, after defeating Matthew Patel and going back into the apartment where Scott Pilgrim lives with Wallace. Yeah, and Scott Pilgrim, it plays the Seinfeld theme song, like the sitcom TV shows, and it plays the audience applauding whenever Scott Pilgrim appears, and the audience's laugh track. It just feels really cool and very funny, and the humor was super funny though, and I love it. It was pretty awesome, and I really love watching Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I'm glad that in the end that Scott Pilgrim and Ramona Flowers get to be together, and the voice announcers saying continue 10 9, in the whole video game that you're doing. Though the movie, it's a live action comic book video game movie. Yeah, those three genres, and mixing them up all together, and you get Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So yeah, what do I think about Scott Pilgrim versus the World? The characters, they did a really good job. The actors did a really good job. The acting was really good, and the scenes, though, the humor was so funny. Yep, it was super funny. Yeah, I love it. And though Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is a really good movie, I highly recommend you go watch Scott Pilgrim vs. the World on Netflix before it disappears on January 31st. So give it a try. And by the meantime, when you're finished, watch Scott Pilgrim Takes Off on Netflix as well. Yep. So how do I rate this movie? I I give it 10 out of 10 coins. That is about 8 quarters and 2 nickels, which is about $2.10. So if you take 4 quarters, that makes $1. So take 8 quarters, that makes $2. And then the 10 cents, which is about 2 nickels, which is 5 cents. Add them together, that makes a dime. So, $2.10. And after fighting against Matthew Patel, the cheapskate. And that's not even enough for the money for the subway back home. So, guys, if you love watching Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, let me know in the comments below. Also, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World was based on a true story of Brian Lee O'Malley. I'll leave the video link in the description below so you can check it out for yourself. Anyways, guys, I'll see you all next time. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace. We are Sex Bomb!